Have you ever wondered why it hurts so much to lose someone who didn't value you enough? Why does the absence of someone who took you for granted feel like a weight pressing down on your chest? If you're here, chances are you've felt this pain, the kind that makes you question your worth, your choices, and even your future. But what if I told you that this pain isn't just something to endure? What if it could be the spark that ignites a transformation so powerful it leaves everyone around you, including him, wondering what they lost? Stay with me until the end, because by the time this video is over, you'll have the tools to reclaim your power and make him feel the pain of losing someone as extraordinary as you. Let's start with honesty. Heartbreak isn't just an emotion, it's a test. It's life's way of shaking you awake, forcing you to confront truths you may have been avoiding. Maybe he made you believe you weren't good enough. Maybe he let you think love meant sacrifice instead of partnership. Or maybe, just maybe, he never truly saw the fire inside you, the strength, resilience, and brilliance that defines who you are. That ache in your heart right now, it's not just sadness, it's a wake-up call. And today, we're going to answer it together. Think about this. Every relationship teaches us something, even the ones that break us. They reveal our limits, our boundaries, and most importantly, our potential. When someone walks away or takes you for granted, it doesn't mean you failed. No, it means they couldn't keep up with the version of you that was ready to rise. Human psychology shows us that people often don't realize what they had until it's gone. This isn't about revenge. It's about evolution. It's about becoming so unstoppable, so radiant, that his regret becomes inevitable. Not because you wanted to hurt him, but because you chose to save yourself. But here's the hard truth. Before you can rise, you need to face the pain head on. Ignoring it won't work. Pretending it doesn't exist won't either. Pain has a purpose. It forces growth. Like a seed breaking open to sprout into something greater, your pain is preparing you for a rebirth. The key is how you respond. Will you let it bury you, or will you use it as fuel? Because deep down, you know you're stronger than this moment. You've survived every storm life has thrown at you so far, and trust me, this one won't be any different. Now imagine this. What would happen if you stopped waiting for validation from someone who wasn't worthy of your light? What if you redirected all that energy you spent trying to prove yourself toward building the life you deserve? Imagine waking up each day knowing you're enough, not because someone else says so, but because you say so. That shift changes everything. It transforms the narrative from, I need him, to, he needed me, and I moved on without looking back. And here's where things get exciting. When you commit to growing into your best self, something incredible happens. People notice, not just him, everyone. Your confidence becomes magnetic. Your independence becomes inspiring. And yes, somewhere along the way, he'll start to feel the void left behind. He'll see glimpses of the person he underestimated and realize exactly what he lost. But, and this is crucial, that won't be your goal anymore. By then, you'll understand that making him feel the pain of losing you isn't about hurting him. It's about proving to yourself that you're irreplaceable. Before we dive deeper, let me promise you this. If you stick with me until the end of this video, you'll walk away with actionable steps to rebuild your self-worth, set unshakable boundaries, and step into a version of yourself that scares the world and excites you. This isn't just another motivational talk. This is your blueprint for turning pain into power. So take a deep breath, press pause on the doubt, and prepare to rewrite your story. The best part? You already hold the pen. Pain is a strange thing, isn't it? It lingers, it whispers, it tries to convince you that you're stuck. But here's the truth. Pain doesn't have to define you. In fact, it can be the catalyst for your greatest transformation, if you let it. When someone walks away or diminishes your worth, it leaves a mark. And while ignoring that ache might seem easier in the moment, burying it only delays the healing. True freedom comes when you face it head on and decide that this pain will not own you. Instead, it will teach you. It will show you what you deserve, and most importantly, it will remind you of the strength you've always carried within. Think about it. Every wound carries a lesson. Maybe he made you believe you weren't enough. Maybe he left you questioning whether love was ever real. Or maybe he simply didn't understand the depth of who you are. Whatever the case, know this. His inability to see your value doesn't make it any less true. Pain has a way of forcing us to confront parts of ourselves we might otherwise ignore. It strips away illusions and forces clarity. Human psychology tells us that discomfort is often the precursor to growth. Without the sting of loss, would you ever realize how much more you deserve? Would you ever push yourself to become the person you were always meant to be? But here's where many people get stuck. They confuse healing with forgetting. Healing isn't about erasing the past, it's about integrating it. It's about taking the lessons and leaving the rest behind. You don't need to pretend the hurt didn't happen. Acknowledge it, honor it. Then ask yourself, what now? Because staying trapped in the cycle of what if or why me only keeps you tethered to something that no longer serves you. The moment you shift your focus from what you lost to what you can gain, everything changes. This isn't just resilience, it's reinvention. So how do you begin? Start by recognizing that your emotions are valid but temporary. Anger, sadness, frustration, they're all natural responses to loss, but they aren't permanent states unless you allow them to be. Every time you feel the weight of what happened, redirect that energy toward action. Write down one thing you want to improve about yourself. Take one step toward a goal you've been afraid to pursue. Even small movements forward create momentum. And momentum, that's the antidote to stagnation. Remember, life rewards effort. The universe conspires with those who refuse to give up. There's another layer to this, though, one that's often overlooked. Pain has a unique way of showing us who we truly are. Beneath the surface of heartbreak lies a version of you that's stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever imagined. This version doesn't seek approval from anyone. She doesn't wait for validation. She knows her worth intrinsically. And once you tap into that version of yourself, there's no going back. You stop asking, am I enough? Because the answer becomes undeniable. Yes. Always yes. Here's the beautiful part. When you choose to grow through pain instead of being consumed by it, something remarkable happens. You start attracting people and opportunities that align with your newfound energy. People respect confidence. They admire strength. And deep down, even if he doesn't admit it, he'll feel the shift too. He'll notice the change in you, the way you carry yourself, the light in your eyes, the quiet certainty that you've moved on without looking back. But again, this isn't about him. By the time you reach this point, his opinion won't matter anymore. What will matter is the unshakable belief in yourself that no one can take away. The journey won't always be easy. Some days the pain will still creep in. Some nights doubt will whisper louder than hope. But remember this, every storm eventually passes. Every dark sky gives way to sunlight. And every step you take toward healing brings you closer to the person you were born to become. Don't rush the process. Growth takes time, but it's worth every second. Because when you emerge on the other side, you won't just be surviving, you'll be thriving. So as you move forward, keep this in mind. The pain you feel today is shaping the strength you'll embody tomorrow. It's teaching you resilience. It's showing you what you're capable of enduring and overcoming. And soon enough, you'll look back at this moment not as a low point, but as the turning point, the moment you decided to rise, the moment you chose yourself. Keep going. Your best days are waiting for you. Why do we pour so much of ourselves into relationships that don't pour back? Why do we give pieces of our soul to people who can't or won't hold them with care? These are questions that linger long after the dust settles, when the silence becomes louder than the words once spoken. The truth is, we crave connection. It's hardwired into us as humans. We want to belong, to be seen, to feel like someone out there truly gets us. But sometimes, in our quest for love and acceptance, we lose sight of something critical, ourself. And that's where the real work begins. When you're caught up in trying to make someone else happy, it's easy to forget your own needs. You bend, you compromise, you sacrifice, until one day you wake up and realize you've become unrecognizable even to yourself. This isn't just about him. It's about what happens when you hand over too much of your identity to someone else. Human psychology shows us that relationships thrive on balance, but imbalance breeds resentment. If you've ever felt drained, overlooked, or undervalued, it's because somewhere along the way the scales tipped too far in his favor and not enough in yours. But here's the turning point. Recognizing this pattern is the first step toward breaking it. You didn't choose to be taken for granted. You simply trusted someone who wasn't ready to honor that trust. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you learned. Every moment you spent loving him taught you something valuable about yourself. Maybe you discovered your capacity for patience. Maybe you realized how deeply you desire respect. Or maybe, just maybe, you uncovered the limits of what you're willing to tolerate. These lessons aren't wasted. They're building blocks. They're shaping the foundation of a future where you'll never settle for less than you deserve again. Now, think about this. What does it mean to truly value yourself? It's not about arrogance or ego. It's about understanding your worth and refusing to negotiate it. It's about knowing that no matter how much someone claims to love you, if they don't treat you with the reverence you deserve, their words are meaningless. Love without action is hollow. Admiration without effort is empty. And affection without respect, that's not love at all, it's convenience. When you start seeing yourself through this lens, everything shifts. Suddenly, the approval you sought from him feels insignificant compared to the pride you take in standing tall on your own. The journey to self-worth isn't linear. There will be days when doubt creeps in, whispering lies about whether you're truly enough. On those days, remind yourself of this: you were born worthy. Worthiness isn't earned, it's inherent. It doesn't depend on external validation or someone else's opinion. It exists within you, steady and unshakable, waiting for you to claim it. So every time you catch yourself questioning your value, pause, rewind, reframe, replace "I'm not good enough" with "I am more than enough." Those small affirmations might seem simple, but they hold immense power. Over time, they rewrite the narrative you've been telling yourself, and the world around you starts reflecting that change. And let's talk about boundaries for a moment. Boundaries aren't walls, they're declarations. They say, "This is who I am, and this is what I expect." Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. It's saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that uplift you. When you establish clear lines, you send a message, not just to others, but to yourself, that your well-being matters. Boundaries teach people how to treat you. They create space for mutual respect and leave no room for ambiguity. If he couldn't meet you halfway, that's not your burden to carry. It's his loss, plain and simple. Here's the beauty of reclaiming your worth. It changes everything, not just in how others see you, but in how you navigate the world. Confidence isn't loud or boastful. It's quiet and magnetic. It's the kind of energy that draws people in while commanding respect. And guess what? People notice. They always do. When you walk into a room knowing your value, heads turn. Not because you demand attention, but because you exude it naturally. You become unstoppable, unshakable. Someone who doesn't need validation because they already know their worth. So as you continue on this path, remember this: your worth isn't tied to anyone else's ability to see it. It's yours alone to define and protect. Every step you take toward honoring yourself brings you closer to a life filled with genuine connection, deep fulfillment, and unwavering peace. Keep going. Keep growing, because the person you're becoming is worth every ounce of effort you're putting in right now. Boundaries aren't just lines in the sand. They're acts of self-respect. They're the invisible shields that protect your peace, your energy, and your soul. But let's be honest. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first. It challenges old patterns, disrupts expectations, and sometimes even invites resistance. Yet here's the truth. Every time you say no to what diminishes you, you're saying yes to who you're meant to become. Boundaries don't push people away, they invite them to show up better. And if someone can't respect your limits, that's not your problem, it's their shortcoming. Think about it this way: when you allow others to cross your boundaries without consequence, you're silently telling them it's okay to undervalue you. You're teaching them that your needs don't matter, that your voice can be ignored. But deep down, you know that's not true. Your needs matter immensely. Your voice deserves to be heard, and every time you enforce a boundary, you reinforce the belief that you are worthy of care, attention, and respect. Human psychology teaches us that behavior is shaped by consequences. When you set clear limits, you train those around you to treat you with the dignity you embody. But boundaries aren't just for other people. They're for you. They remind you of your own standards, your values, and your non-negotiables. They teach you to honor yourself even when no one else is watching. Every boundary you set is a declaration: I am here, I exist, and I will not shrink myself to make others comfortable. This isn't selfishness. It's survival. It's choosing to live authentically instead of living for approval. And as you practice this over and over, something incredible happens. You start feeling lighter. The weight of trying to please everyone falls away, replaced by the freedom of being unapologetically you. Now, here's the thing about boundaries. They require consistency. One strong statement won't change the dynamic overnight. It takes repetition, patience, and courage to hold your ground, especially when others test your resolve. But each time you stand firm, you grow stronger. You send a message not only to those around you, but also to yourself that you are capable of protecting your space and your spirit. Boundaries transform relationships because they create clarity. They eliminate guesswork and leave no room for misinterpretation. People either rise to meet your standards or they step aside, and both outcomes are victories for you. And let's talk about what happens when you finally embrace the power of boundaries. Suddenly, your life feels different. The noise fades, the chaos quiets. You begin attracting people who align with your energy, people who respect your limits, celebrate your strength, and cherish your authenticity. These are the kinds of connections that fuel growth, not drain it. Meanwhile, those who couldn't adapt, their absence becomes a gift. Because now you have the space to welcome healthier, more meaningful relationships into your world. Here's the deeper layer. Boundaries aren't just external, they're internal too. They're the promises you make to yourself about how you'll spend your time, your energy, and your heart. They're the decisions you make to prioritize your well-being, even when it feels hard. Maybe it means walking away from situations that deplete you. Maybe it means saying no to commitments that don't align with your goals. Or maybe it means giving yourself permission to rest when the world demands hustle. Whatever form they take, these internal boundaries are acts of self-love, a reminder that you come first. So as you continue building this foundation of self-respect, remember this: boundaries aren't barriers, they're bridges. They connect you to a version of yourself that's grounded, confident, and free. They guide you toward relationships that reflect your worth and away from those that diminish. And most importantly, they remind you that your peace is priceless. Keep honoring your limits, keep protecting your space, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined possible. What does it really mean to make him feel the pain of losing you? Is it about revenge? About proving a point? No. It's about something far greater than that. It's about becoming so aligned with your highest self, so rooted in your power, that his realization of what he lost becomes inevitable. Not because you orchestrated it, but because you evolved beyond his ability to keep up. Think about it. Regret only hits when someone sees the gap between who they had and who they could have kept. And when you step into your greatness, that gap widens, leaving them to wonder why they ever let you go. Human nature has a fascinating flaw. We often don't appreciate what we have until it's gone. Psychologists call this the scarcity principle, the idea that value increases when availability decreases. When you were always there, always giving, always bending, it was easy for him to take you for granted. But when you begin to rise, when you start prioritizing yourself and stepping into your light, something shifts. Your presence becomes less predictable, your energy less accessible. Suddenly, the person who once seemed replaceable to him starts feeling irreplaceable. And here's the beauty of it. You didn't chase this outcome. You simply became too radiant to ignore. But let's be clear, this isn't about playing games or manipulating emotions. It's about reclaiming your narrative. It's about understanding that true empowerment doesn't come from making someone else hurt. It comes from making yourself unstoppable. Every decision you make to invest in your growth, every choice you take to honor your worth, sends ripples through the universe. These ripples don't just transform you, they reshape how others perceive you. He'll notice, maybe not right away, maybe not even consciously, but he'll feel it. The void you leave behind will speak louder than any words ever could. Now, imagine this moment, the day he realizes what he lost. Will it sting? Absolutely. But not because you set out to wound him. It will sting because he'll see the version of you that emerged after him. The one who no longer needs validation, who thrives independently, who radiates confidence and grace. That's the kind of pain that lingers, not born out of cruelty, but out of clarity, out of truth. Because deep down, everyone wants what they can't have, and by the time you're done growing, you won't just be unattainable, you'll be untouchable. So how do you get there? How do you become someone whose absence leaves an ache? Start by focusing on elevation, not retaliation. Elevate your mindset, elevate your actions, elevate your standards. Stop waiting for external approval and start seeking internal fulfillment. When you commit to bettering yourself, whether it's through learning, creating, healing, or dreaming, you send a message to the world. I am limitless. And guess what? Limitless people don't wait around for others to catch up. They move forward, leaving inspiration in their wake. There's another layer to this transformation, though, one that might surprise you. As you grow, you'll find that your desire to make him feel the pain will fade. Why? Because revenge loses its appeal when you're too busy thriving. The need to prove yourself diminishes when you know your worth intrinsically. What replaces it is a quiet certainty, a knowing that you've outgrown the chapter where he played a role. You won't look back with bitterness. Instead, you'll look ahead with excitement. Excitement for the life you're building, the person you're becoming, and the endless possibilities waiting for you. And here's the most empowering part. When you embrace this journey, you stop living for anyone else's approval. You stop measuring your success by whether someone else notices or cares. Instead, you live for you. You build a life so rich, so fulfilling that his acknowledgement or lack thereof becomes irrelevant. This isn't just independence, it's liberation. It's breaking free from the chains of needing to be seen and choosing instead to shine regardless. People may come and go, but the foundation you create within yourself, that remains unshakable. Remember this. The pain of losing you won't be something you force upon him. It will be a natural consequence of your growth. Like sunlight piercing through clouds, your brilliance will illuminate everything around you. Those who couldn't handle it will drift away. Those who recognize your value will stay, and those who left, they'll carry the weight of their choices while you carry the joy of yours. Keep rising, keep shining, because the best revenge isn't hatred, it's happiness. Pain has a way of leaving us stuck in the past, doesn't it? It whispers stories of what could have been, and replays moments we wish we could rewrite. But here's the truth. Focusing on yesterday only keeps you tethered to a version of yourself that no longer exists. Growth happens when you turn your gaze forward, when you channel that raw emotion into fuel for transformation. And let me tell you something powerful. Every ounce of energy you pour into becoming better is an act of defiance against the pain he caused. Rising isn't just about healing. It's about proving to yourself that you're stronger than any wound. Think about the emotions swirling inside you right now. Anger, sadness, frustration. They're heavy, aren't they? But what if I told you those feelings don't have to weigh you down forever? What if they could lift you instead? Human psychology shows us that negative emotions can be redirected. Pain can become passion. Hurt can spark determination. The key lies in how you choose to respond. Will you let these emotions drag you deeper into despair, or will you harness them as tools for reinvention? Every time you take one small step toward growth, you shift the narrative. You move from victim to victor. So where do you start? Start by asking yourself this. What kind of person do I want to be on the other side of this heartache? Do you want to emerge softer, wiser, more resilient? Or do you want to stay trapped in the cycle of regret? The answer might feel obvious, but the journey won't always be easy. Growth demands effort. It requires showing up even when motivation feels scarce. Maybe today it's journaling your thoughts instead of bottling them up. Tomorrow, it's taking a walk to clear your mind. Next week, it's signing up for that class you've always dreamed of trying. Each action, no matter how small, chips away at the weight holding you back. Now, here's the secret most people miss. Confidence isn't built overnight. It's earned through consistency. Confidence comes from doing hard things, from pushing past discomfort and proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought possible. When you commit to daily acts of courage, however tiny, you begin to rewrite the story you tell yourself. Instead of "I'm not strong enough," you start believing "I am unstoppable." That mindset shift changes everything. Suddenly, challenges feel less intimidating because you know you've faced worse and survived. But there's another layer to this process, one that ties directly to your emotional freedom. When you focus on growth, you reclaim your power. You stop giving him space in your mind, in your heart, in your future. Every goal you set, every dream you chase pulls you further away from the shadow of what was and closer to the light of what can be. This isn't just about moving on, it's about moving up. It's about creating a life so full, so vibrant, that his memory fades into irrelevance. Because here's the thing, the best revenge isn't proving him wrong, it's showing yourself how far you've come. And let's talk about the ripple effect of this transformation. When you invest in your growth, you inspire others around you, even if you don't realize it. Your courage gives permission to those who are struggling to find their own. Your resilience reminds them that healing is possible. People are drawn to energy like yours, the kind that refuses to settle, that dares to rise above adversity. As you grow, your circle naturally shifts too. Those who couldn't keep pace with your evolution fall away, making room for relationships that reflect the new, elevated version of you. Here's the beauty of choosing growth over stagnation. It never stops giving back. With each step forward, you uncover strengths you didn't know you had, talents you hadn't yet explored, dreams you'd buried under doubt. You realize that pain wasn't just a burden, it was a teacher. It showed you what you're made of. It forced you to dig deep and discover reserves of strength you didn't think existed. And now you carry that knowledge with you, knowing that whatever comes next, you'll face it head on. So as you continue this journey, remember this. Every tear you shed waters seeds of possibility. Every challenge you overcome builds muscles of resilience. And every dream you chase brings you closer to a version of yourself that leaves the past behind, not out of bitterness, but out of triumph. Keep going. Keep growing. Because the woman you're becoming is worth every ounce of effort you're putting in right now. The people around you, they shape your world more than you might realize. The energy they bring, the words they speak, the way they make you feel, all of it leaves an imprint on your soul. And when you're trying to rise, to heal, to become unstoppable, the company you keep matters more than ever. Surrounding yourself with positivity isn't just a suggestion, it's a necessity. Because here's the truth. Negativity is contagious, doubt spreads like wildfire, and if you're not careful, it can consume you. But so is hope. So is belief. When you choose to surround yourself with people who uplift, inspire, and challenge you to grow, their light becomes part of yours. Think about the last time someone doubted you. How did it feel? Did it weigh you down, make you question your path? Now think about the last time someone believed in you, truly believed in you, before you even believed in yourself. Didn't it feel like the whole world opened up? Human psychology teaches us that we are deeply influenced by our environment. The people you spend time with shape your thoughts, your habits, and ultimately your outcomes. If you're surrounded by those who see your potential, who remind you of your strength when you forget it, you'll find it easier to keep moving forward. But if you're surrounded by toxicity, by voices that echo doubt instead of encouragement, staying motivated becomes an uphill battle. So ask yourself this: who's in your corner right now? Are they adding fuel to your fire, or are they dimming your flame? It's not always easy to recognize toxic influences, especially when they come disguised as familiarity or comfort. Sometimes it's a friend who subtly undermines your dreams. Other times it's a family member who plants seeds of fear under the guise of being realistic. These voices don't always mean harm, but their impact can be just as damaging. They keep you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt, afraid to take risks or trust your instincts. And if you're serious about rising above the pain, about stepping into your power, you need to distance yourself from anything or anyone that holds you back. But here's the good news. Choosing positivity doesn't mean cutting ties with everyone who challenges you. Growth often requires tough love, honest feedback, and accountability. What it does mean is surrounding yourself with people who challenge you for the right reasons. People who push you because they see your greatness, not because they want to shrink you to fit their own insecurities. These are the ones who celebrate your wins, sit with you in your losses, and remind you of your worth when you forget it. Their presence alone raises your vibration, pulling you closer to the person you're meant to become. Now, let's talk about creating space for positivity. It starts with intention. Who do you want in your life? What kind of energy do you want to attract? Once you know what you're looking for, start aligning your actions with that vision. Say yes to people who inspire you. Spend time with those who make you laugh, who encourage you to dream bigger, who remind you that you're capable of more than you think. Seek out communities, online or offline, where growth is celebrated, where vulnerability is met with support, and where ambition is nurtured. These connections will sustain you when the road gets tough, reminding you that you're never truly alone. And here's something powerful. Positivity doesn't only come from others, it comes from within. There will be moments when external support feels scarce, and that's okay. You have the power to generate your own light. Read books that ignite your spirit. Listen to music that lifts your soul. Speak words of affirmation to yourself every single day. Surround yourself with reminders of your strength. A journal entry, a meaningful quote, a photo of a place that inspires you. These small acts create a cocoon of positivity, protecting you from the negativity that once threatened to pull you under. Let's also acknowledge this. Letting go of toxic influences isn't easy. It might mean having difficult conversations. It might mean setting boundaries that feel uncomfortable at first. But remember this, every step you take toward protecting your peace is an act of self-love. Every moment you choose growth over stagnation brings you closer to the life you deserve. And soon enough, you'll notice something incredible happening. You'll begin attracting people who reflect the energy you're putting out. Your tribe will find you, not because you searched for them, but because you became the kind of person they couldn't resist. So as you move forward, carry this reminder with you. The company you keep shapes your reality. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your light when you forget how to shine. Fill your world with voices that cheer you on, hands that lift you up, and hearts that believe in you unconditionally. Because when you're surrounded by positivity, when you're rooted in a circle of support, there's no limit to how far you can go. Keep building that circle. Keep protecting your energy, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. There's a quiet kind of strength that comes from standing alone and thriving. It's not about rejecting connection or pushing people away. It's about finding wholeness within yourself before seeking it elsewhere. Independence isn't loneliness, it's freedom. It's the ability to exist fully, beautifully, and unapologetically without needing validation or permission from anyone else. And when you embrace this truth, something extraordinary happens. You become magnetic. Not because you're trying to be, but because you no longer need anything from anyone. Think about the times you've felt most vulnerable in relationships. Chances are it wasn't just the fear of loss, it was the fear of being incomplete without them. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that partnership defined your worth, that love meant merging identities instead of celebrating individuality. But here's the reality. True confidence doesn't come from someone else choosing you. It comes from choosing yourself. When you learn to stand on your own 2 feet, when you build a life so rich and fulfilling that companionship becomes optional, not essential, you step into a power that can't be shaken. Human psychology teaches us that dependency often stems from insecurity, a belief that we aren't enough as we are. But independence flips that narrative. It says, I am whole, I am capable, I am worthy, regardless of who stands beside me. This mindset doesn't isolate you. It liberates you. It allows you to approach relationships from a place of abundance rather than lack. You stop chasing people who don't value you because you realize they're simply passing through your story, not writing it for you. And when you finally meet someone who sees your light, who matches your energy, it won't feel like desperation. It will feel like alignment. Now, let's talk about what independence really looks like. It's not about doing everything alone or refusing help when you need it. It's about knowing that your happiness doesn't hinge on external factors. It's cooking a meal you love, even if no one else is at the table. It's taking trips to places you've always dreamed of visiting, whether or not you have a companion. It's setting goals that excite you, pursuing passions that ignite your soul, and building dreams that belong solely to you. These acts of self-reliance remind you that you are the author of your life and no one else holds the pen. But here's the deeper truth. Embracing independence doesn't close doors, it opens them. When you radiate contentment, when you carry yourself with the quiet certainty that you're enough, people notice. They gravitate toward your energy because it feels safe, steady, and inspiring. And while their presence might enhance your journey, it won't define it. That's the beauty of independence. You stop relying on others to complete you and start inviting them to complement you instead. Relationships built on this foundation are healthier, stronger, and infinitely more meaningful. And let's not forget this: independence is a form of self-respect. Every time you choose yourself over settling, every time you prioritize your growth over compromise, you send a message to the world and to yourself that you deserve better. This isn't arrogance, it's acknowledgement. It's recognizing that your worth isn't negotiable, that your peace isn't disposable, and that your future is yours to design. The moment you internalize this, you stop waiting for someone else to save you. You become your own hero. So as you continue down this path of empowerment, remember this: standing alone doesn't mean you're isolated. It means you're untouchable. You've created a sanctuary within yourself, a space where fear can't enter and doubt can't linger. You've learned to celebrate solitude not as emptiness, but as opportunity. Opportunity to grow, to dream, to rediscover who you are outside of anyone else's expectations. Keep nurturing that independence. Keep honoring the person you're becoming. Because when you find joy in your own company, the world suddenly feels a little less daunting and a lot more beautiful. What does your future self look like? Close your eyes for a moment and picture her. Is she confident, unstoppable, radiant? Does she walk into a room with purpose, knowing exactly who she is and what she wants? That version of you isn't just a dream. It's a destination. And every step you take today brings you closer to becoming her. Visualization isn't just a tool, it's a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. When you see your success clearly in your mind, your actions naturally align to make it real. Human psychology shows us that the brain doesn't distinguish well between vivid imagination and reality. When you visualize your goals with clarity and emotion, your subconscious begins to believe they're possible, and that belief fuels action. It's why athletes mentally rehearse their performances before stepping onto the field, why entrepreneurs envision their companies thriving before the first sale. What you focus on expands. So if you're constantly imagining struggle or lack, guess what grows? But when you shift your focus to abundance, strength, and achievement, those qualities start showing up in your life too. Now, let's talk about how to harness this power. Start by asking yourself, who do I want to become? Don't limit yourself to practicality right now. Dream boldly. Maybe she's someone who speaks her truth without fear, who chases her passions relentlessly, who radiates joy even in hard times. Write down everything you imagine about her. How does she carry herself? What does she prioritize? What boundaries does she set? The more detailed your vision, the easier it becomes to embody her. But here's the key. Visualization alone isn't enough. You have to pair it with action. Imagine planting seeds in a garden. You can water them all day, but unless you tend to the soil, nothing will grow. In the same way, once you've pictured your future self, ask, what small step can I take today to move toward her? It could be as simple as practicing gratitude for 5 minutes, saying no to something that drains you, or committing to learn one new skill. Each tiny effort compounds over time, creating momentum that propels you forward. And let's not overlook the role of patience in this process. Becoming your best self doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, not a race. There will be days when progress feels slow, when doubt creeps in, when the gap between who you are and who you want to be feels impossibly wide. On those days, remind yourself of this: transformation is built brick by brick. Every decision you make adds to the foundation of the person you're becoming. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Even the smallest steps count. Here's the beautiful part about visualizing your future self. She already exists within you. She's the version of you that remains untouched by fear, failure, or rejection. The part of you that knows your worth intrinsically. When you tap into that inner knowing, when you connect with the essence of who you're meant to be, obstacles start to feel smaller. Challenges become opportunities, setbacks turn into lessons. You stop seeing your current circumstances as permanent and start viewing them as stepping stones towards something greater. So as you continue to build this vision of your future self, hold on to this thought. You don't need permission to become extraordinary. You don't need anyone else's approval to step into your power. Everything you need to create the life you want is already inside you. It's been there all along, waiting for you to claim it. Keep dreaming boldly, keep taking action consistently, and most importantly, keep believing in the infinite potential of who you can become. Because the truth is, the woman you're visualizing isn't just out there in the distance. She's standing right here, ready to guide you home to yourself. Forgiveness isn't about letting someone off the hook. It's about releasing yourself from the weight of resentment. Holding on to anger, hurt, or bitterness might feel like justice in the moment, but over time it becomes a prison. A prison you didn't build, yet one you're trapped in. And here's the truth. Forgiveness is the key to unlocking that door. It doesn't mean excusing what happened or pretending it didn't matter. What it means is choosing freedom over pain, peace over turmoil, and self-love over self-destruction. When you forgive, you reclaim your power. You take back the energy he stole when he left you broken. Think about the toll resentment takes on your mind and body. It festers, growing heavier with each passing day. Science shows us that carrying grudges can lead to stress, anxiety, even physical illness. Why? Because resentment keeps you tied to the past, replaying moments you wish you could forget. Every time you think about what he did or didn't do, you give him space in your heart, in your thoughts, in your future. But forgiveness changes that dynamic. It says, I refuse to let your actions control my happiness anymore. It shifts the focus from him back to you, where it belongs. Now, forgiveness doesn't happen all at once. It's not a switch you flip, it's a journey you walk. Some days it feels impossible. How can you forgive someone who didn't value you enough to stay, who walked away without looking back? The answer lies in understanding this. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional chains that bind you to their memory. It's about saying, what you did hurt me deeply, but I won't carry that pain forever. This act of release doesn't erase the past, it transforms it. It turns something that once held power over you into a lesson that makes you stronger. But here's the deeper layer. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. You don't have to erase the lessons you learned or pretend the experience didn't shape you. In fact, those lessons are part of what makes you unstoppable now. Forgiveness simply means acknowledging what happened, honoring your emotions, and then deciding to move forward. It's choosing to live in the present instead of being anchored to the past. When you forgive, you create space for new beginnings, for joy, growth, and connection. You stop allowing old wounds to dictate how you show up in the world. And let's talk about what forgiveness does for your soul. It softens the edges of your pain, replacing sharp anger with quiet strength. It reminds you that you are more than the sum of your experiences, that you are resilient, capable, and whole, despite everything you've endured. Forgiveness also teaches compassion, not just for others, but for yourself. Maybe there were moments when you doubted your worth, when you stayed too long or gave too much. Forgive yourself for those choices. They don't define you. They taught you. And now, equipped with wisdom, you know better and you'll do better. Here's the most empowering part. When you forgive, you rise above the situation. You stop engaging in the cycle of blame, guilt, or regret. Instead, you position yourself above it all, untouchable and unshaken. He may never understand the depth of what he lost, and that's okay. His realization, or lack thereof, doesn't determine your peace. Your forgiveness isn't contingent on his apology. It's rooted in your desire to heal. And as you release the weight of resentment, you'll notice something incredible happening. You start to feel lighter, freer, more alive. So as you embark on this final step of your healing journey, remember this. Forgiveness is an act of rebellion. It's rejecting the idea that someone else gets to decide your worth or dictate your happiness. It's standing tall and declaring, I am bigger than this pain. I am greater than this moment. Keep forgiving, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Let go of the burden you've been carrying and watch as your spirit soars to heights you never thought possible. Because the moment you truly forgive, you set yourself free, and nothing feels as powerful as that. You've come so far already, haven't you? Think about it. The pain that once felt suffocating now feels like a chapter in your story, not the entire book. The weight of resentment has started to lift, replaced by the quiet strength of forgiveness. And yet, here's the truth. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning. Rising above heartbreak, reclaiming your power, and stepping into your greatness is an ongoing journey. But every step forward solidifies the foundation of who you're becoming. Today we close this chapter with one final rallying cry. This is your moment to rise. Let's talk about what rising truly means. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about standing tall in the face of adversity, knowing that no matter how hard life gets, you have the resilience to overcome it. Rising isn't a destination, it's a mindset. It's waking up each day and choosing courage over comfort, action over hesitation, growth over stagnation. When you rise, you become unstoppable, not because you never fall, but because you always get back up. Now let's acknowledge this. Rising doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. Life will still throw challenges your way, moments of doubt, setbacks, or unexpected losses. But here's the difference now. You know how to handle them. You've been through the fire and emerged stronger on the other side. Every lesson you've learned along this journey has prepared you for whatever comes next. Pain no longer breaks you, it builds you. Struggles no longer define you, they refine you. That's the beauty of rising. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start viewing them as stepping stones. But here's the secret most people miss. Rising isn't something you do alone. Yes, the work starts within you, but the momentum comes from the energy you create around yourself. Surround yourself with reminders of your strength. A daily affirmation, a playlist that fuels your spirit, or even a small ritual that centers you. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they seem. Did you set a boundary today? That's rising. Did you take one step toward a goal? That's rising. Did you simply show up for yourself when the world felt heavy? That's rising too. These tiny victories compound over time, shaping the unstoppable force you're becoming. And let's talk about impact for a moment. When you rise, you don't just transform your own life. You inspire others to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. Maybe it's a friend who sees your strength and finds the bravery to leave a toxic situation. Maybe it's a stranger who hears your story and realizes they're not alone. Rising isn't just personal, it's universal. It ripples outward, touching lives in ways you may never fully see. And while recognition isn't the goal, knowing that your journey could light someone else's path adds another layer of purpose to everything you've overcome. Here's the deeper truth. Rising is an act of faith. It's trusting that even when you can't see the finish line, progress is happening. It's believing that every tear you shed waters seeds of possibility. Every challenge you face sharpens your resolve, and every dream you chase brings you closer to the person you're meant to be. Rising asks you to embrace uncertainty, to lean into discomfort, to keep going even when the outcome feels unclear, because the magic happens in the middle, in the messy, beautiful process of becoming. So, as you stand at this crossroads, ready to step fully into your power, remember this. You are capable of more than you know. The pain you've endured has shaped you, but it doesn't define you. The struggles you've faced have strengthened you, but they don't limit you. You are a masterpiece in progress, constantly evolving, growing, and expanding. Keep rising, not for revenge, not for validation, but for the sheer joy of knowing that you are unstoppable. This is your time. This is your moment to shine. Take everything you've learned, everything you've overcome, and pour it into the vision of the future you've been building. Trust yourself, trust the process, and trust that no matter what lies ahead, you are equipped to handle it. Because here's the ultimate truth. When you rise, you don't just survive, you thrive. So go ahead, rise higher than you ever thought possible. The world is waiting for the best version of you, and she's worth every ounce of effort you're putting in right now. You've built yourself back, piece by piece, brick by brick. You've faced the pain, reclaimed your worth, and stepped into a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more radiant than ever before. But let me ask you this. What will you do with all that strength now? Because here's the truth. Your transformation isn't just for you. It's a gift to the world. Every ounce of resilience you've cultivated, every moment of growth you've embraced, has prepared you to leave an imprint on the lives around you. This is where empowerment meets impact. This is where your light becomes a beacon for others. Think about it. When someone sees you thriving after heartbreak, standing tall after being knocked down, or glowing with confidence despite past insecurities, it changes them. They may never say it out loud, but deep inside, they're inspired. Your journey reminds them that healing is possible, that growth is within reach, and that no matter how dark things seem, there's always a way forward. Human psychology shows us that we're wired to mirror the energy of those around us. When you radiate hope, courage, and determination, others can't help but feel it too. And sometimes that spark is enough to ignite their own transformation. But making an impact doesn't mean you have to stand on a stage or shout from the rooftops. Sometimes the most powerful acts of influence are quiet and personal. Maybe it's sharing your story with someone who needs to hear it, not because you want applause, but because you know it might save them. Maybe it's simply showing up fully in your relationships, leading by example and letting people see what authenticity looks like. Or maybe it's using your experiences as fuel to create something meaningful, a project, a passion, or even just a mindset that inspires others to dream bigger. Whatever form it takes, your presence alone can be a catalyst for change. Now, here's the beautiful part. Leaving an impact doesn't require perfection. In fact, it's often your imperfections that make you relatable. People aren't looking for flawless heroes. They're looking for real ones. They need to see that you stumbled, doubted, and struggled just like they do, but that you kept going anyway. That's what gives them permission to keep going too. When you embrace your humanity, the highs, the lows, and everything in between, you become a living testament to the power of perseverance. And trust me, that kind of authenticity leaves a mark. Let's talk about legacy for a moment. Not the kind that's written in stone, but the kind that lives in hearts. What do you want people to remember about you? Not the titles you held or the accolades you earned, but the energy you brought into their lives. Did you uplift? Did you encourage? Did you remind them of their own strength when they forgot it themselves? These are the moments that truly matter, the ones where your actions speak louder than words. Legacy isn't built in grand gestures. It's woven through small, consistent acts of kindness, courage, and love. And here's the empowering truth. You don't have to wait for some far-off future to start leaving your mark. The impact begins now with how you show up every single day. Smile at a stranger who looks like they're having a tough morning. Offer support to a friend who's struggling silently. Share your wisdom, your laughter, your light with anyone lucky enough to cross your path. These tiny ripples add up over time, creating waves of change that extend far beyond what you can see. You don't need a plan or a platform. You just need to be unapologetically you. So as you move forward, carry this thought with you. Your life is a masterpiece, and every interaction, every decision, every act of courage adds color to the canvas. Don't shrink yourself to fit someone else's expectations. Don't dim your light to avoid outshining others. Instead, shine brightly. For yourself, yes, but also for everyone who needs a reminder that greatness is possible. Keep rising, keep growing, and keep giving the world the best version of you. Because here's the ultimate truth. When you embrace your purpose and share your gifts, you don't just transform your own life, you transform the lives of everyone you touch. And that, my dear, is how legends are made. You've done the work, you've faced the pain, reclaimed your power, and stepped into a version of yourself that's unstoppable. But here's the question. What will you do with this newfound strength? Will you let it sit quietly inside you, or will you use it to create a life so vibrant, so full, that it leaves a mark on the world? Because here's the truth. Your transformation isn't just for you. It's an invitation to live boldly, to dream bigger, and to chase a future that reflects everything you've fought so hard to become. Think about the dreams you've put on hold, the ones that felt too big, too scary, or too far out of reach. Maybe they were buried under fear, self-doubt, or the weight of someone else's expectations. But now you have the tools to dig them up, dust them off, and bring them back to life. Human psychology tells us that growth happens when we step outside our comfort zones. Every time you push past fear, every time you take a risk, you expand what's possible for yourself. And those dreams you've been carrying, they're not just ideas, they're promises to the person you're becoming. Let's talk about action for a moment. Dreams don't come true because they're beautiful. They come true because you work for them. It's not enough to simply envision a brighter future. You have to move toward it. Start small if you need to. Write down one thing you want to achieve today. Take one step toward a goal that excites you. Celebrate each tiny victory along the way, knowing that these moments are paving the path to something greater. Momentum is powerful. Once you start moving, it becomes easier to keep going. And soon you'll look back and realize how far you've come, not because luck found you, but because effort did. But here's the deeper layer. Chasing your dreams isn't selfish. It's necessary. When you pursue what sets your soul on fire, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage gives them permission to dream bigger, to try harder, to believe in possibilities they once thought were out of reach. You might never know the ripple effect of your actions, but trust me, it's there. Every bold move you make, every boundary you set, every goal you crush sends a message to the world, this is what's possible. And let's not forget this. Living fully means embracing joy as much as resilience. It's okay to laugh, to love, to find beauty in the little things. Healing doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you start feeling more deeply, more authentically. So dance like no one's watching. Savor the taste of your favorite meal and soak up moments of pure happiness without guilt. Life wasn't meant to be endured. It was meant to be lived. And now, with everything you've overcome, you deserve to experience it in all its richness. So as you step into this next chapter, carry this reminder with you. You are limitless. There's nothing you can't achieve if you're willing to keep showing up, keep trying, and keep believing in yourself. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Create it, build it, live it. Because here's the ultimate truth. The best revenge isn't proving him wrong. It's proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. Keep dreaming, keep striving, keep shining. The world is waiting for the magic only you can bring. And trust me, you're ready. You've built yourself back stronger, braver, and more radiant than ever before. You've faced the storms, risen above the pain, and stepped into a version of yourself that's unshakable. But here's the truth, the journey doesn't end here. It evolves. Life isn't static. It's a constant flow of growth, challenges, and opportunities to become even better. And now that you've proven to yourself just how resilient you are, it's time to embrace the next phase of your transformation. Living with purpose. Purpose isn't something you find, it's something you create. It's the alignment of your passions, your strengths, and your values into a life that feels meaningful, fulfilling, and uniquely yours. Think about this for a moment. When you live with purpose, every action carries weight. Every decision becomes intentional. Even on days when motivation feels scarce, having a sense of direction keeps you moving forward. Human psychology shows us that people who live with purpose experience deeper levels of happiness and fulfillment because they're connected to something greater than themselves. This something doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It just has to matter to you. Whether it's creating art, building relationships, pursuing a career you love, or simply being present for the people around you, purpose gives your life a heartbeat. And once you tap into that rhythm, everything else falls into place. But finding, or rather creating, your purpose isn't always straightforward. It requires reflection, experimentation, and sometimes even trial and error. Start by asking yourself, what makes me feel alive? Not what society tells you should make you happy, but what truly sets your soul on fire. Is it helping others? Learning new things? Building something from scratch? Whatever it is, lean into it. Give yourself permission to explore without judgment. Remember, purpose isn't a destination, it's a process. It's the joy you find in the journey, not just the outcome. Now let's talk about why purpose matters so much right now. After everything you've been through, settling for anything less than a life that excites you would be a disservice to the person you've worked so hard to become. You didn't rise above heartbreak, reclaim your worth, and step into your power just to blend into the background. No, you rose to stand out, to shine, to leave an imprint on the world that says, I was here and I made a difference. Living with purpose allows you to do exactly that. It transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary ones and turns everyday actions into acts of meaning. Here's the beautiful part. Purpose doesn't demand perfection. In fact, it thrives on authenticity. Some days, living with purpose might mean taking bold steps toward a big dream. Other days, it might mean simply showing up for yourself or someone else in small but significant ways. Both are equally important. What matters is that you stay aligned with what matters most to you, that you keep choosing actions, thoughts, and goals that reflect the person you're becoming. Over time, these choices add up, shaping a life that feels rich with intention and purpose. And let's not overlook this. Living with purpose amplifies your impact. When you're deeply connected to what drives you, your energy becomes contagious. People notice. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because your passion lights up the room. Your clarity inspires others to seek their own. Your courage reminds them that they, too, can chase what sets their soul ablaze. Purpose isn't just personal, it's universal. It ripples outward, touching lives in ways you may never fully see. And while recognition isn't the goal, knowing that your journey could spark someone else's makes it all the more meaningful. So as you move forward, carry this thought with you. Your purpose is already within you. It's simply waiting for you to claim it. Trust yourself to know what feels right. Trust the process to guide you where you need to go. And most importantly, trust that every step you take toward living with purpose brings you closer to the life you deserve, a life filled with joy, meaning, and boundless possibility. Because here's the ultimate truth. When you live with purpose, you stop existing and start thriving. Keep going, keep growing, keep shining. The world needs the light only you can bring, and you're ready to share it. You've come so far. You've faced the pain, reclaimed your worth, and stepped into a life that's rich with purpose and possibility. But let's pause for a moment and acknowledge something powerful. None of this happened by accident. Every choice you made, every step you took, every tear you shed, it all led you here. And now, as you stand at this pivotal point in your journey, there's one final truth to embrace. You are unstoppable. Not because you never fall, not because you're immune to challenges, but because you've proven time and again that no matter what life throws at you, you rise. That's who you are now. That's who you'll always be. Think about the word unstoppable for a moment. It doesn't mean invincible. It means relentless. It means choosing to keep going even when the road feels impossibly steep. It means finding strength in moments of weakness and courage in times of fear. Human psychology teaches us that resilience isn't about avoiding setbacks. It's about bouncing back stronger after them. And you've done exactly that. Each time you stumbled, you stood back up. Each time you doubted yourself, you found a way to push through. That's what being unstoppable is all about. Not perfection, but persistence. But here's the deeper layer. Being unstoppable isn't just about facing external challenges. It's about mastering your inner world. It's about silencing the voice of doubt that whispers, "You can't," and replacing it with the quiet certainty of "Watch me." It's about trusting yourself to handle whatever comes next, knowing that you've already overcome so much. When you become the master of your mindset, nothing outside of you can break you. Challenges may come, storms may rage, but they'll only make you stronger because you've built an unshakable foundation within. Now, let's talk about what being unstoppable looks like in action. It's showing up fully, even when you don't feel ready. It's taking risks, not because you're fearless, but because you know the reward is worth the leap. It's setting boundaries without apology and pursuing dreams without hesitation. Being unstoppable means living authentically, honoring your values, protecting your peace, and refusing to settle for anything less than you deserve. It's saying yes to growth, even when it's uncomfortable, and no to anything that diminishes your light. And here's the most empowering part. Being unstoppable inspires others to do the same. When people see you rising above adversity, chasing your dreams, and living with purpose, they can't help but believe that they can too. Your strength becomes their permission slip to step into their own power. They may never tell you, but your courage will ripple through their lives, reminding them that greatness is possible. This is the legacy of being unstoppable. Not just transforming your own life, but touching the lives of others in ways you may never fully realize. Let's also remember this. Being unstoppable doesn't mean you have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's okay to rest. It's okay to ask for help. Strength isn't about doing everything alone. It's about knowing when to lean on others and when to give yourself grace. Unstoppable doesn't mean unbreakable. It means knowing how to rebuild yourself every time you fall apart. It's embracing both your vulnerability and your resilience, understanding that they coexist to make you whole. So as you move forward, carry this truth with you. You are unstoppable, not because of what you've achieved, but because of who you are. You've proven over and over again that you have the power to create, to grow, to thrive. You've turned pain into purpose, heartbreak into healing, and loss into liberation. Now, take that unstoppable energy and pour it into everything you do. Chase your dreams relentlessly, love deeply and unapologetically, stand tall in the face of fear. Because here's the ultimate truth. When you live as your unstoppable self, you stop waiting for life to happen to you. You start making it happen for you. Keep rising, keep shining, keep proving to yourself that there's nothing you can't overcome. The one who refuses to give up, who dares to dream bigger, and who shows up fully no matter what. And guess what? That unstoppable person, she's already here. She's been here all along. Now go out there and show the world exactly what she's capable of. You've proven time and again that you're unstoppable. You've faced the storms, risen above the pain, and stepped into a version of yourself that's bold, resilient, and radiant. But here's something profound to consider. Your journey isn't just about you, it's about the ripple effect of your courage. Every step you take toward becoming your best self sends waves of inspiration outward, touching lives in ways you may never fully see. And now, as you embrace this unstoppable energy within you, it's time to recognize the impact you're creating simply by being unapologetically you. Think about it. When you live boldly, you give others permission to do the same. When you refuse to shrink yourself, you remind those around you that they don't have to either. Human psychology shows us that we're wired to mirror the behavior of those we admire. So when people see you standing tall, speaking your truth, and pursuing your dreams with relentless determination, they start believing they can too. Your strength becomes their spark. Your courage becomes their catalyst. Even if you never hear the words, "Thank you," know this. Your presence alone is changing lives. But let's talk about what true impact really looks like. It's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's found in the quiet moments. A friend watching how you handle adversity and deciding to face their own fears. A stranger noticing the way you carry yourself with confidence and realizing they deserve to feel the same. A loved one seeing you set boundaries and learning that it's okay to prioritize their peace too. These small, seemingly insignificant interactions, they add up. They create shifts, subtle but powerful, that inspire others to step into their own greatness. Now here's the empowering part. You don't have to try to make an impact. It happens naturally, when you're aligned with your truth, when you live authentically, when you honor your values, and when you refuse to settle for anything less than you deserve. You become a beacon of possibility. People are drawn to your light because it reminds them of their own. You don't have to shout your story from the rooftops. Simply living it is enough. Your actions, your choices, your unwavering belief in yourself, they all speak volumes without saying a word. And let's not forget this. Impact isn't measured by scale. It's measured by depth. It doesn't matter how many people you reach. What matters is how deeply you touch even one life. Maybe it's the person who sees you rising after heartbreak and finds the strength to leave their own toxic situation. Maybe it's the coworker who notices your work ethic and decides to chase their passion project. Or maybe it's the child who watches you stand in your power and grows up knowing they can do the same. These moments, the ones where your light ignites someone else's, are the true markers of impact. So as you continue forward, remember this: you're not just building a life for yourself, you're creating a legacy. Every act of courage, every moment of authenticity, every decision to rise above fear leaves a mark on the world. You're shaping the future, not just for yourself, but for everyone whose path you cross. And while you may never fully know the extent of your influence, trust that it's there. Trust that your unstoppable spirit is doing more good than you realize. Keep shining brightly. Keep showing up fully. Because here's the ultimate truth. When you live as your unstoppable self, you don't just transform your own life, you transform the lives of everyone around you. The world needs your light, your courage, your resilience. And guess what? You're already giving it. So keep going, keep inspiring, keep being the unstoppable force you were born to be. You've walked through fire and emerged stronger, bolder, and more radiant than ever before. You've learned to rise above pain, to honor your worth, and to live with purpose and authenticity. But here's the truth that will carry you forward. The journey of growth never truly ends. It evolves. Life is a series of peaks and valleys, triumphs and lessons, and each step shapes you into a version of yourself that's even more capable, compassionate, and unstoppable. And now as you stand on this mountaintop of transformation, it's time to embrace one final powerful mindset: gratitude for the climb. Think about it. Every challenge you've faced, every tear you've shed, every moment of doubt or fear has been a teacher in disguise. Human psychology shows us that gratitude has the power to shift our perspective, turning obstacles into opportunities and pain into wisdom. When you choose to see your struggles not as burdens but as stepping stones, something extraordinary happens. You stop fearing the hard moments and start embracing them as part of your story. They're not setbacks, they're setups for something greater. Gratitude doesn't erase the difficulty, but it reframes it, reminding you that even in the toughest times, there's something to be gained. But here's the deeper layer. Gratitude isn't just about looking back, it's about fueling your future. When you approach life with a grateful heart, you attract more of what you appreciate. It's not magic, it's mindset. The more you focus on what's working, what's beautiful, and what's possible, the more life mirrors that energy back to you. Gratitude amplifies your strength, sharpens your resilience, and deepens your joy. It reminds you that no matter where you are in your journey, there's always something to celebrate, even if it's simply the fact that you're still standing. Now, let's talk about how gratitude transforms relationships with others and with yourself. When you practice gratitude, you begin to see people differently. You notice the small acts of kindness, the quiet support, the love that often goes unspoken. This shift doesn't just change how you view others, it changes how you show up for them. Gratitude softens your edges, opens your heart, and allows you to connect more deeply. And when it comes to yourself, gratitude becomes a form of self-love. Instead of focusing on what you lack or where you fell short, you start celebrating your wins, your growth, and your effort. That's how you build a relationship with yourself that's rooted in compassion and pride. And here's the most empowering part. Gratitude gives you staying power. On days when motivation feels scarce, when doubt creeps in, or when the road ahead seems uncertain, gratitude keeps you moving forward. It reminds you of how far you've come and fuels your belief in how much farther you can go. It's the anchor that grounds you and the wings that lift you higher. When you're grateful for the climb, you stop seeing challenges as threats and start viewing them as opportunities to grow even stronger. So as you step into this next phase of your journey, carry this thought with you. Gratitude isn't passive, it's active. It's a choice you make every single day, even when life feels heavy. Start small if you need to. Write down 3 things you're grateful for today. Take a moment to thank someone who's made a difference in your life, or simply pause and acknowledge the beauty around you, the sun on your skin, the air in your lungs, the strength in your body. These tiny acts of gratitude add up, shaping a life that feels rich with meaning and possibility. Because here's the ultimate truth. When you live with gratitude, you don't just survive, you thrive. You stop waiting for happiness to find you and start creating it within yourself. Keep choosing gratitude, not because life is perfect, but because you're determined to see the perfection in its imperfections. Keep shining, keep growing, and keep giving thanks for the incredible person you're becoming. The world is brighter because of you, and so is your future. Gratitude has the power to transform your perspective, but let's talk about something even deeper. What happens when you pair gratitude with action? When you take the lessons of your journey, the pain, the growth, the resilience, and channel them into creating a life that's not just fulfilling for you, but impactful for others. This is where your story becomes more than personal triumph. It becomes a force for change. You've already proven that you can rise above anything. Now, imagine using that strength to uplift others, to leave a legacy of hope and inspiration that extends far beyond your own path. Think about the people who have inspired you along the way. Maybe it was someone who shared their story at exactly the right moment, or a stranger whose quiet kindness reminded you of humanity's goodness. What if you could be that person for someone else? Human psychology teaches us that acts of generosity and connection don't just benefit the recipient, they transform the giver too. When you extend a hand, offer a listening ear, or share your wisdom, you reinforce your own sense of purpose. Helping others doesn't diminish your light, it amplifies it. And in doing so, you create a cycle of positivity that ripples outward, touching lives in ways you may never fully see. But here's the key. Impact isn't about grand gestures or trying to save the world overnight. It's about showing up consistently in small yet meaningful ways. Maybe it's mentoring someone who's struggling with self-doubt, just like you once did. Maybe it's volunteering your time to a cause that aligns with your values, or simply being present for a friend who needs encouragement. These moments might seem small to you, but to the person on the receiving end, they can feel monumental. Impact isn't measured by size, it's measured by sincerity. When you give from your heart, even the smallest actions carry immense weight. Now, let's talk about why giving back matters so much right now. After everything you've overcome, settling into comfort would be easy, but that's not who you are anymore. You didn't fight this hard to simply exist, you fought to thrive, to make a difference, to leave the world better than you found it. Giving back allows you to do just that. It transforms your pain into purpose, your struggles into service, and your victories into opportunities to inspire others. Every challenge you've faced equips you with unique insights and strengths, gifts that can help someone else navigate their own storm. Your journey isn't just for you anymore. It's for everyone who needs a reminder that they're not alone. And here's the beautiful part. Giving back doesn't deplete you, it energizes you. There's a profound joy that comes from knowing you've made a difference, no matter how small. It connects you to something greater than yourself and reminds you of the beauty of community, compassion, and shared humanity. When you lift others, you also lift yourself. You deepen your gratitude, strengthen your resilience, and expand your capacity for love and connection. It's a reminder that we're all in this together, that our struggles may be individual, but our triumphs can be collective. Let's also acknowledge this. Giving back isn't about perfection or having everything figured out. You don't need to be finished with your healing to start helping others. In fact, some of the most powerful acts of service come from people who are still on their own journeys. Why? Because they understand what it feels like to struggle, to doubt, to wonder if things will ever get better. Their vulnerability becomes a bridge, connecting them to others in a way that polished perfection never could. So don't wait until you feel ready. Start where you are with what you have and watch as your efforts create waves of change. So as you move forward, carry this truth with you. Your ability to give back is one of your greatest powers. Whether through words, actions, or simply the energy you bring into the world, you have the potential to inspire, to heal, to transform. Don't underestimate the impact of your presence, your story, your courage. The world needs what only you can offer. Your unique voice, your unshakable spirit, your boundless heart. Keep rising, keep shining, and keep pouring your light into the lives of others. Because here's the ultimate truth. When you give back, you don't just change the world, you become part of its heartbeat. Keep going, keep growing, keep giving. The ripple effect of your actions will echo far beyond what you can imagine. You've built yourself back, stronger, braver, and more radiant than ever before. You've turned pain into purpose, doubt into determination, and loss into liberation. But here's the truth that will carry you even further. Your journey doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of something much bigger. Every step you take, every lesson you learn, and every act of courage you show contributes to a collective energy of growth and transformation. And now, as you stand at this pinnacle of your own evolution, it's time to embrace the idea that your light can illuminate the path for others. This isn't just about giving back. It's about becoming a beacon of hope, resilience, and possibility. Think about the moments when someone else's story or strength inspired you. Maybe it was a friend who shared how they overcame their fears, a stranger whose quiet confidence reminded you of your own potential, or even a book, quote, or song that spoke directly to your soul. These moments didn't just happen by chance. They were acts of generosity from people who chose to share their light with the world. Human psychology shows us that inspiration is contagious. When we witness someone stepping boldly into their power, it ignites a spark within us to do the same. Now imagine being that spark for someone else. Imagine the impact of your courage rippling outward, reminding others that they too can rise. But let's be clear, being a beacon of hope doesn't mean you have to be perfect or have all the answers. It simply means showing up authentically, owning your story, the highs, the lows, the lessons, and letting it shine without apology. Vulnerability is one of the most powerful forces in the universe because it connects us on a human level. When you allow yourself to be seen, flaws and all, you create space for others to do the same. Your honesty becomes their permission slip to embrace their imperfections and trust in their ability to heal and grow. That's how you change lives, not through perfection, but through authenticity. Now, let's talk about what it really means to illuminate the path for others. It's not about standing on a pedestal or positioning yourself as someone superior. It's about walking alongside people while holding a lantern. Maybe it's sharing your story with someone who feels lost, offering guidance without judgment. Maybe it's celebrating someone else's wins as if they're your own, reminding them that their efforts matter. Or maybe it's simply listening, truly listening, when someone needs to feel heard. These small acts of connection may seem ordinary to you, but to the person on the receiving end, they can feel extraordinary. They remind them that they're not alone, that someone believes in them, and that brighter days are possible. Here's the empowering part. Illuminating the path for others also deepens your own sense of purpose. When you focus on uplifting those around you, you reinforce your own belief in the goodness of humanity and in your role within it. You start seeing challenges not just as personal tests, but as opportunities to grow so you can guide others through similar struggles. Your pain becomes a bridge, your resilience a roadmap. And in doing so, you transform your past hardships into gifts that keep giving, not just to you, but to everyone you touch. And let's not forget this. Being a beacon of hope doesn't require grand gestures or constant visibility. Sometimes the most profound impacts come from the simplest actions. A smile that says you're enough, a kind word that reminds someone they're valued, or a moment of presence that makes them feel seen. These everyday acts of compassion are like drops of water falling into a pond, creating ripples that extend far beyond what you can see. The beauty of this work is that it's sustainable. It doesn't drain you, it fills you. Each time you pour your light into the world, you replenish your own flame. So as you continue forward, carry this thought with you. Your light matters more than you know. Whether through your words, your actions, or simply the energy you bring into a room, you have the power to inspire, to heal, to transform. Don't underestimate the weight of your presence or the depth of your influence. The world needs your brilliance, your unique blend of strength, wisdom, and heart. Keep shining, keep sharing, and keep believing in the ripple effect of your light. Because here's the ultimate truth. When you choose to illuminate the path for others, you don't just help them find their way, you ensure that your own journey leaves a legacy of love, courage, and unstoppable hope. You've come so far. You've faced the storms, risen above the pain, and stepped into a version of yourself that's unstoppable, radiant, and full of purpose. But here's the final truth to carry with you as you move forward. This is just the beginning. The journey doesn't end here. It expands. Every step you've taken has prepared you for something greater, something bolder, something only you can create. The strength you've built, the lessons you've learned, and the light you now shine. They're not just tools for survival, they're instruments for thriving. And now, it's time to embrace the infinite possibilities ahead. Think about this. Every sunrise brings a new opportunity to rewrite your story, to dream bigger, and to live more fully. Life isn't static. It's a canvas waiting for your brushstrokes. Each day is a chance to add color, depth, and meaning to the masterpiece of your existence. Human psychology shows us that growth happens when we lean into curiosity, when we ask ourselves, what's next? Instead of settling into comfort, you've chosen courage, and that choice will continue to propel you toward heights you've yet to imagine. Trust that the best chapters of your life are still unwritten, and you hold the pen. But here's the deeper layer. Embracing the unknown doesn't mean fearing it. It means stepping into it with faith in yourself, in your resilience, and in the beauty of what's possible. The future may feel uncertain at times, but uncertainty isn't a threat. It's an invitation. It's asking you to trust that no matter what comes your way, you have everything you need to handle it. You've already proven that over and over again. So instead of worrying about what lies ahead, focus on the one thing you can control: how you show up. Show up boldly, show up authentically, show up ready to create magic. Now, let's talk about legacy. Not the kind written in stone, but the kind etched into hearts. What do you want to leave behind? Not titles or accolades, but moments of impact, connection, and love. Legacy isn't built in grand gestures. It's woven through small, consistent acts of kindness, courage, and joy. It's the way you make someone feel seen, the way you lift others up, the way you chase your dreams without apology. These are the threads that create a tapestry of meaning, a life that inspires long after you're gone. And guess what? You're building that legacy right now with every decision you make and every step you take. Here's the most empowering part. Your potential is limitless. There's no ceiling on what you can achieve, no boundary on how deeply you can love, and no limit to the lives you can touch. When you stop doubting yourself and start trusting your ability to adapt, grow, and thrive, you unlock doors you didn't even know existed. Your dreams aren't out of reach. They're waiting for you to claim them. All it takes is the willingness to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep becoming. So as you step into this next chapter, carry this thought with you. You are the author of your story, the architect of your destiny, and the light that guides your way. Keep dreaming boldly, living fully, and shining brightly, because here's the ultimate truth. The world needs the unique brilliance only you can bring. Don't hold back. Don't play small. This is your time to rise, to soar, to become everything you were born to be. Keep going, keep glowing, keep being unstoppable. The best is yet to come.